Welcome, everyone. You're here because you want to go deep, right? Get the real substance of something without, wading through jargon or just skimming the surface.
That's the goal.
And that's exactly what we do. Today, we're diving into a really interesting text you shared, The Sacred Charge, a Mission Beyond Time.
Mm-hmm.
It lays out this really fundamental call, a call to transform the world based on faith, courage, community.
Yeah, it's quite profound.
So our mission today, let's pull out the core message, the actionable stuff from this text for you, our listener.
Absolutely. And what struck me right away was, well, the sheer scope of it. It's not just personal belief we're talking about.
Right.
It's framed as this dynamic historical force, something really aiming to shape society. This sacred charge, as the text calls it. It feels like the very heart of a faith that's involved in the world.
Involved, yeah.
Not separate.
Exactly. And it's presented not as some, dusty old idea, but something alive, breathing, unfolding right now. Okay, let's dig into that term then, sacred charge. The text calls it an eternal call, timeless, a constant challenge for believers. You mentioned this idea, it talks about being an architect of transformation. What does that actually look like? For someone listening, maybe.
Well, that's what's fascinating, isn't it? The active role it gives everyone. It's not just, okay, I believe.
Yeah.
It's about actively participating, being part of something bigger. This eternal call is, it's woven right into the core message.
Okay.
And it demands, real thought, intellectual engagement with these deep theological, spiritual ideas.
So being an architect.
It means consciously trying to build something better, guided by these core beliefs.
Yeah.
You see yourself as actively contributing, building something lasting beyond just your own life.
Right. So it's definitely bigger than just personal piety. The text mentions these foundational pillars. First one, divine mandate.
Yeah.
Stresses that this mission isn't really optional, it's a calling. But it also talks about intellectual engagement.
Yeah.
Why is the thinking part so crucial here?
Well, I think if you connect it to the bigger picture, it's about making sure the drive to transform things isn't just well-intentioned fluff.
Right, not just feeling.
Exactly. It needs grounding. The text specifically mentions engaging with theological insights and spiritual truths that have guided humanity for millennia.
Millennia, wow.
So for the listener, it suggests, you need to study, reflect, understand the why behind the what.
Okay,
It's about grounding your actions in a faith that's thought through, historically aware.
that makes a lot of sense. Then the second pillar, historical continuity. How the church historically has driven social change. A beacon of hope during the darkest of times, it says. Can you think of an example that really brings that home?
Oh, definitely. What's compelling is how it connects, say, the early apostles' actions right through to modern figures.
The continuous line.
Yeah. Think about early Christian communities. Even when persecuted, they challenged Roman social structures. Or monasteries in the Middle Ages, preserving knowledge, providing support.
Right, islands of stability.
Exactly. These weren't just random acts. They're part of a continuous thread. Faith plus action, defying time. It suggests, the challenges we see today. They're part of a much longer story.
And the third pillar is transformative power, going beyond just religious observance.
Yes.
It's about dynamic engagement, fueling innovation, bridging divides. How does that deep faith actually translate into that kind of power?
That gets to the heart of what belief does, doesn't it? The text suggests that real faith, it doesn't just stay inside. It flows out. It makes people look at the world, see injustice or suffering, and then actively work towards healing, bringing people together.
So it changes your perspective.
Fundamentally, your faith becomes the engine driving positive action, tackling problems, offering hope where it's needed most.
Okay, now the text shifts a bit. Faith and innovation. It says faith transforms not just hearts, but whole communities.
All right.
And it pictures believers as active interpreters and executors of the divine message, like architects building something timeless.
Yeah, I like that architect metaphor.
What are some maybe real-world examples of that active interpretation and execution for someone listening?
Well, what's striking is that blend of principle and practice. Think about faith-based groups identifying a community need. Lack of education, maybe, or healthcare, or support for the marginalized.
Okay.
And then they create solutions based on their values. Could be schools, clinics, sustainable farming projects, advocacy.
Lots of possibilities.
Totally. The architect idea works because it implies intention, design. Building something where the impact isn't just material, but measured in lives, changed, hope kindled,
And it also mentions bridging the chasms of division, reaching the alienated, the forgotten, creating a tapestry of reconciliation.
Beautiful phrase, that.
How does faith specifically motivate that kind of bridge building in our own interactions, maybe?
Well, at the core of many faiths is this emphasis on compassion.
Right.
Empathy, the inherent worth of everyone. So that naturally leads to wanting to connect with people on the margins, the excluded. The tapestry image suggests consciously weaving together different threads, different people, experiences.
Into one whole.
Yes. Faith provides the why, the motivation to look past differences, find that common ground in our shared humanity.
The text also points out that challenges, difficulties, they can actually reveal the strength of this sacred charge.
Counterintuitive, maybe, but yeah.
Courageous decisions, strategic actions leading to lasting impact. Is there a historical moment or maybe something current where a big challenge really showed this power in action?
Oh, absolutely. Think about the civil rights movement. Faith leaders were absolutely central.
Definitely.
Their courage, often facing violence, their strategic nonviolence, it brought about huge lasting change. Or look at responses to disasters, humanitarian crises.
Faith groups are often first responders.
Exactly. Demonstrating this deep commitment to serve, even in the worst circumstances. These moments really showcase the resilience, the transformative power packed into this sacred charge.
So moving on, the text offers a strategic blueprint, theory and practice. First part, deep intellectual engagement. It urges us to see Scripture's history, not as dead letters, but living documents, fuel for modern innovation, ethical choices. How do we, avoid treating them like museum pieces? How can they actually fuel today's thinking?
The key word there is engagement.
Yeah.
Active reflection, interpretation.
Not just quoting.
Right. It's about understanding the core principles and then creatively applying them now. They're living documents because they hold timeless truths about people, justice, compassion. Still relevant.
So wrestle with them.
Yes. Wrestle with the ideas, consider different takes, figure out how they guide us today in this world. It's like an ongoing conversation between past wisdom and present reality.
Okay. Then community empowerment, building real connections, real dialogue, investing in the marginalized. Why is community so vital here for living out this charge?
The text really hammers this home. Transformation isn't a solo act. It's shared. Community gives you support. Accountability. Different perspectives, you need those for complex problems. Building networks beyond the superficial, creating spaces for real talk, where diverse views are actually valued, not just tolerated. And investing in the marginalized is crucial. It reflects that core value of prioritizing the vulnerable, their dignity.
Empowered communities drive change from within.
Exactly. They become resilient, better equipped.
And the last piece of the blueprint, innovative outreach. Using modern tools, tech, social media, arts, spreading hope. How do we use these powerful tools effectively but stay true to the core message, not water it down?
I think it boils down to intentionality.
Yeah.
Authenticity.
Okay.
These tools let you reach huge audiences, share info fast, but the message itself has to stay rooted in the core principles.
So adapt the how, not the what.
Precisely. Innovative outreach isn't about chasing trends. It's finding fresh ways to communicate timeless truths using language and platforms that connect today, protecting the integrity of the message while adapting the delivery.
Which leads nicely into the idea of the enduring impact, this tapestry of transformation woven over time.
Yes.
It's not just about quick wins, but a lasting legacy. How do our actions today, even small ones, really contribute to that long-term tapestry?
I love that image, the tapestry. Every act of courage, every thoughtful effort, every moment of compassion, it's like another thread. Individually, maybe they seem small, but together, they create this rich, complex pattern. Hope, renewal, stretching way beyond our own lifetimes.
So we're part of an ongoing story.
Exactly. And our choices today, they shape the next chapter for future generations.
The text then pulls together faith, knowledge, and action, calls it a collective journey toward renewal.
A pilgrimage almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emphasizing community, knowledge as a compass, and the courage to break barriers. Let's unpack knowledge a bit more. An indispensable compass, fuel for action. How does knowledge practically empower this mission for someone listening?
Well, the text gives knowledge multiple roles, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just book learning. It's deeper understanding of the world, its challenges, the history, the theology guiding the mission. As a compass, it helps navigate complexity, stay focused.
Fuel.
It gives the insights needed to act effectively. Strategically, it transforms raw faith, into a more informed, potent force for good. The living tapestry idea, again, knowledge as dynamic, evolving, informing our decisions.
And then uniting as one indomitable community, a harmonious symphony, breaking the chains of division. How do we actually do that? Foster that unity in such a divided world, in our own communities?
The text points to a shared vision as the starting point. Finding that common ground and core values, that shared commitment.
Okay.
Breaking the chains takes conscious effort, though. Actively fighting prejudice, fostering empathy, creating spaces where different voices are genuinely valued.
Not just tolerated.
Right. Valued. It means solidarity, mutual support, tough conversations handled with humility, respect. Cultivating a culture of inclusion is vital, seeing differences as a source of collective strength.
Next up, breaking through barriers with the boldness of innovation, embracing the uncharted, innovation as a spiritual mandate.
Yeah, that's a strong phrase.
How do we encourage that kind of courage, that innovation, within this enduring mission? How does someone listening approach challenges differently?
The text suggests the core message itself challenges complacency, right? So embracing the uncharted means stepping outside comfort zones, familiar ways of thinking.
Taking risks?
Maybe. Seeing innovation as a spiritual mandate implies we're called to be creative. Use our ingenuity to find new ways to communicate and live out the message.
Like using tech, art.
Exactly. Or developing unconventional ways to tackle injustice. It's about reframing obstacles, seeing them not as roadblocks, but as chances for renewal, reinvention.
This all ties into bridging theory and application, reminding us intellectual engagement, community building, strategic outreach. These are practical steps.
Right. It underscores that this transformation idea isn't just abstract thought.
We've got to put it into practice.
Precisely. It's a continuous loop. Learn, connect, act. Intellectual engagement deepens understanding, community provides support, outreach makes faith tangible, impactful, applying the insights practically.
Okay, the next major theme is a legacy etched in eternity. Thinking beyond the now. Long-term impact. It uses that image. Faith as forged steel.
Powerful, isn't it?
Strengthened through challenge. How does facing adversity actually build faith? Contribute to this legacy we leave for someone listening, facing their own struggles?
The text captures it beautifully.
Yeah.
Challenges aren't meant to destroy us, but to refine us, like steel and fire.
Tempering.
Exactly. Our faith can become more resilient, more enduring through hardship. But it requires active engagement, not passive suffering. Meaning wrestling with it, learning from it, letting it deepen conviction. Think of leaders who faced huge trials and came through with faith intact. They become beacons of hope.
Their stories inspire.
Definitely. And personal transformation through hardship, that's powerful testament. Leaves a lasting mark.
Following that, illuminating the future. A mandate to radiate truth and love. Sounds very active, very intentional.
It is.
What are some concrete ways we can actually do that? Radiate truth and love daily. Things someone listening could try.
Well, the text stresses it's practical, not abstract. Embodying faith in everyday actions.
Like what?
Community outreach, it mentions. Simple kindness, getting involved locally.
Right.
Also, innovative evangelism, using modern tools to share the core message in ways that connect now.
So living it out visibly.
Yeah. Living in a way that reflects truth, compassion, justice, inspiring others through both words and, importantly, deeds, meeting the world's needs with resolve.
And this section wraps with the path forward, creating the future through intentional action, shaping tomorrow today, cultivating leadership.
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway here about living intentionally to build that legacy in our own choices?
The core idea is agency. The future isn't predetermined. We actively create it by the choices we make now, every day. Intentional living means being mindful of the long-term impact, aligning decisions with values, with the vision, and cultivating leadership is crucial for continuity.
Passing the torch.
Exactly. Investing in the next generation. Empowering them with faith, resilience, community values, giving them chances to lead purposefully. Even small, intentional acts create those ripple effects, contributing to the bigger transformation story.
Okay, the final section. The eternal call, rising as light bearers. This feels like the culmination.
It brings it all together.
A call to authenticity, resilience, unity as hope. Let's start with authenticity, embracing truth, acting with integrity. Why is that so fundamental for someone listening?
The text calls authenticity the bedrock upon which lasting change is built. Simple as that.
Foundation.
Yeah. When we're true, when we act with integrity, we build trust. We inspire others. It creates credibility, moral authority, essential for any real transformation. It's about aligning the inside with the outside, belief and action. That creates genuine impact.
And then the spirit of resilience, tempered by trials, seeing hardship as a catalyst for growth. How do we cultivate that in ourselves or communities, something listeners can draw on?
Well, the text suggests resilience isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about the response.
How you handle it.
Exactly. Reframing challenges, not defeats, but opportunities. To strengthen resolve, deepen understanding, cultivating it means developing inner strength, leaning on community support, maintaining hope, even when it's tough.
Seeing setbacks as temporary.
And learning from them. Moving forward, wiser, more determined.
Finally, unity as the beacon of hope. Collective strength, shared vision. How do we get past differences? Work together for this unstoppable force for renewal. How can a listener contribute?
The key, as we've discussed, is finding that common ground. Shared values, a unifying vision. But it demands commitment to open dialogues, mutual respect, prioritizing the greater good over individual squabbles.
Takes work.
It does. Actively building bridges, fostering inclusion, removing barriers that divide. That creates the harmonious collective. When people unite with shared purpose, their combined passion, their effort, that can be a powerful force for change.
So let's try to sum this up. This deep dive into the sacred charge reveals this incredibly potent, enduring message for anyone listening.
Absolutely.
It's not just passive belief. It's an active, ongoing mission. Transform the world, rooted in a core calling, built on faith, courage, community.
And, crucially, it requires bringing faith together with knowledge and action.
Yeah.
As the text really drives home.
Right.
Seeking wisdom, standing united, boldly overcoming challenges to make a real, lasting difference.
And for you, the listener, it's a pretty compelling invitation, isn't it?
Definitely.
To be an active participant, a connector, a bridge builder, someone carrying hope forward.
Which really leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. What's one specific action, maybe even a small one, you can take today, right now, to respond to this call?
How will you add your thread to this ongoing story of hope and renewal?
And in doing that, begin shaping a legacy that truly transcends this moment in time.